I don't think there's enough votes to codify unless something happens unusual in the House. I think we're going to get very close in the House, but I think it's going to be very close, but I don't think we're going to make it.
That was President Biden breaking tradition by discussing domestic policy on a foreign trip. He's in Bali. It comes as a St. Louis judge said that his student debt plan must be halted while the administration appeals the ruling that originally blocked the program. Joining me right now is Kansas Senator Roger Marshall. Senator, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. I want to get your take on what happened this week. First, the Democrats made abortion and the student loan relief top issues for the midterms. Even though it was an unconstitutional move for giving all that college debt, it worked for the Democrats. Young people came out believing that he could actually do that.
Right, Maria, and this is why Joe Biden won't be reelected. Right now, Joe Biden has no credibility, so people are blocking him out, tuning him out. Next thing they'll do is vote him out. It's interesting to me as you played that sound clip, though, is what Joe Biden didn't talk about in China. You pointed out earlier, he didn't talk about the fentanyl crisis. He didn't talk about the origin of COVID, which we have a preponderance of evidence that would suggest it came out of Wuhan, China as well. He didn't talk about the intellectual property theft. He didn't talk about the counterfeits that are coming into this country made in China as well. But you're absolutely right that the Democrats run as sheep, but they're actually they're a wolf in sheep's clothing. You don't have to look any further than Georgia down there with Herschel Walker, TeamHerschel.com, by the way, that Herschel's opponent is running as a wolf in sheep's clothing, and that's why we have to stand up and keep Herschel in there. Otherwise, we might lose the filibuster.
Tell me the implications of that, losing the filibuster. I mean, what does that mean for policy? What do people need to understand?
Oh, my. Yeah, it is very important. So the filibuster is what's going to keep us from having D.C. become a state and Puerto Rico becoming a state, which would allow them to pack the court. I think that's the most important issue, is that we have to be able to prevent them from packing the court, adding 4 more Supreme Court justices, and adding those states into the union would give them 2 more senators and basically leave Democrats in control forever.
I mean, isn't it incredible that this was their #1 issue, that the Republicans are a threat to democracy, even as they are actually putting out all of these things that are against the Constitution, whether it be packing the Supreme Court or censoring information or, luring voters who are believing what they're saying. Meanwhile, the courts are ruling against it. I mean, and yet it works. It works for them to say that it's the Republicans who are a threat to a democracy.
Right, Maria. So again, they're wolves in sheep's clothing. Raphael Warnock voted 96% of the time with President Biden, but he's down there running as a moderate. He's anything but a moderate. He supports Joe Biden's reckless inflationary spending and the rest of his socialist agenda.
Well, I want to ask you about the divisions within the GOP because, Senator, the Senate is still preparing to hold leadership elections tomorrow. But Senator Marco Rubio is pushing back, as is Ron Johnson, as is Rick Scott. A lot of your colleagues say, why are we seeing leadership elections and we don't even know what the Senate looks like? Here's Marco Rubio's tweet. We should not have a Senate GOP leadership vote until we have a clear explanation of why our 2022 campaign efforts failed and until we have a clear understanding of the political and policy direction for the GOP Senate moving forward. Senator, here's Ron Johnson and Rick Scott joining me Sunday, on Sunday Morning Futures. Watch this.
And then now they want to rush through an election. We haven't even finished what's happened in Georgia. My focus is to make sure Herschel wins, and I hope everybody helps Herschel. You can go to TeamHerschel.com to help, TeamHerschel.com. But they want to rush through an election because, they don't want to do any assessment of what we've done wrong. Insanity is doing the exact same thing and thinking you're going to get a different result. We won't.
Well, Maria, think about it. If we hold those elections right away Wednesday, you probably have more campaigning done in a high school class president election than we would have in the most deliberative body in the world. It is absurd. It is preposterous. They need to be delayed. We need to have these discussions.
So what's the word, Senator? Are you going to delay it or not?
Well, Maria, we're going to find out today, but I want to talk about a couple real important points. Is number one, as a physician, when you lose a spouse, when you lose a parent, we tell people, let's don't rush through this. You're going through these phases of denial and anger. Don't make any major decisions, and that would make sense to me. Number two, we don't want to do anything to hurt Herschel Walker. This is becoming a distractant for Herschel Walker. We need to focus on Raphael Warnock's voting record, that he indeed is a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's all we need to stay focused on. And that being said, I want people to understand who the Mitch McConnell is that I see. That Mitch McConnell is the person that gave us 234 conservative federal judges. He gave us three Supreme Court justices. Without him, we have Merrick Garland rather than Neil Gorsuch. We don't get the Dobbs case overturned. And these judges out here protecting our rights are doing a great job, these judges that he appointed.
All right, so then you want Mitch McConnell to stay in place, and you think it's fine to have the leadership elections then tomorrow. I want to get your take on the FDA ordering Pfizer and Moderna to investigate potential heart problems associated with the COVID vaccine. The CDC is now reporting around 1,000 incidents of vaccine-related myocarditis, primarily in young males. Senator, you're a doctor. What should we understand about these vaccines?
Yeah, Maria, I need to go back to one point. I think we should delay the elections. I think we need to go through the process here right now. But to your point, yes, I think it's very clear that pericarditis, myocarditis is occurring, especially in young males, and that's why we don't want a vaccine mandate. That's why we're pushing back against this COVID emergency, that Joe Biden is using this COVID emergency as the reasoning for firing our military folks out of the military. He's using it for inflationary spending. He's using it for his vaccine mandates, so many other things. That's why we need to end this emergency. Hopefully we'll have that legislation on the floor today or tomorrow. Chuck Schumer has to put it on the floor. And then Nancy Pelosi needs to consider it over on the House side as well. We need to end this emergency and get this economy going. Republicans need to unite. This is a time to unite, to come together, to get focused, to get Herschel Walker over the finish line. TeamHerschel.com. We've got to keep this Senate to a 50-50 situation where we can protect the filibuster.
Yeah, I mean, look, you made a great point. That was another way that Joe Biden went around the Constitution with that vaccine mandate. And now we see these dangerous outcomes in some people, so much so that the FDA is asking Moderna and Pfizer to investigate these heart issues as a result of the vaccine. Senator, we hear you loud and clear. The elections need to be postponed and not happen tomorrow. We will know later what the answer is. Senator Roger Marshall in D.C. this morning. Thank you, sir.